My name is Sigrid, and I'm so glad that you could join us for this Easy Flow class today. I hope that this helps move your body just a little bit, you can find some ease in your mind, and that you just can find a little movement through your spine. Again, 30 minutes, we'll just move from space to space, do the best you can with where you're at, and then allow yourself to find a little ease in each of the postures. Maybe you can also just learn to find your breath, because really and truly, yoga is about finding the movement and that linking between breath and movement and finding that union between the two. So with that, if you could come to your easy seat, your Sukhasana or your chair or your seated pose, and legs can either be crossed, you can bring them up into that Padmasana or that half lotus or full lotus. But for a few of you, if it bothers your knees, you might be able to just extend the heels forward, and we can start right here. Hands to the thighs. Now, wherever you choose to start, let's just take a few cleansing breaths. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And we'll open the mouth and exhale. Deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale. And then one more time, take that deep inhale through the nose. Feel the ribs begin to expand out to the sides. Feel the chest begin to rise, but more importantly, also start to feel the back begin to expand. All of that space around the rib cage. One more little sip of air, and then very slowly release and begin to exhale through the mouth. Then softly bring your lips together. So this breath that we're starting to move into is called Ujjayi Pranayama. And what it is, it can be called that breath of fire. It may sound like Darth Vader, or the sound of the ocean as it comes up and onto the shore and then releases and goes away, that ebb and neap of the tide. So softly bring the lips together. Try not to squeeze them together, but soften here. Let the tongue fall down and away from the roof of the mouth. Begin to take a deep inhale through the nose. Feel the ribs expand. Chest begin to rise, and try not to lift the shoulders too much. And slowly release and exhale through the nose. Soften the eyes just a bit. Maybe even pulling the chin back a bit so you can feel the ears come over the shoulders. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And exhale. You should really be able to hear your breath. Continue with that inhale. Don't be frightened by the sound of it, and begin to exhale. Now, it's as if you are trying to pull the breath in and not just like this, sniffing up and through the nose, but really trying to bring the breath into the back of the throat. Take that inhale. And softly release and exhale. And as you begin to move in just these few breaths, you may begin to notice that you start to soften the shoulders a bit. The body begins to relax just a bit. Really showing you the power of your breath this morning or today. Now, from here, let's start to begin finding some movement. We'll bring the hands up and overhead. Bring and reach, and you'll notice that the shoulders want to come right up by the ears. So if you can, maybe bring the palms forward, shoulders down and away from the ears. Bring the left hand down. Lift up through the right fingertips, and then strongly root this right cheek into the floor, that sits bone into the mat, and then walk your left hand over to the side. Now, trying to lengthen and not trying to squash too much on this side. Pull and lift, and then bring your gaze down to that left hand. Sweep left hand towards sky, right hand comes down toward the mat. Lift again and expand, walk the right hand over. Rotate up just a smidge, walk it on over, root that left sits bone into the mat, bring your gaze down to your right hand. Bring it into neutral neck, right hand overhead, bring the left hand down. If you get mixed up with hands, you're along with me, so don't really worry about it too much. We'll eventually get to both sides. Bring your gaze down to the left. Rotate the ribs up, and then maybe, if the neck allows, you can bring your gaze up towards your right hand. Lift and expand. Bring it up and in through center. Right hand comes down to the mat, right hand to the floor, push into the ground, and then rotate ribs up toward the sky, and maybe you bring your left hand toward the sky, lift and expand. Bring it into the center, up and overhead, and then bring the hands out to the sides. Take a moment to really push the fingertips down and into the floor, and feel the heart begin to lift, and the belly kind of wants to push forward. See if you can take that bottom of the ribs and just kind of imagine you could draw them in toward each other, creating a little strength through the center, lift it through the heart, and then if you'd like, you can bring your fingertips forward, push down into the mat, and then walk your hands forward, finding a soft forward fold. Some of you might be able to, this might be your full forward fold, is just trying to find that lift through the pelvis, and others may be able to bring yourself all the way to the mat. Find a space in between that works for you. If you've got a block, you may want to press into that. I forgot to grab them, and if I run away from the camera right now, I may never come back. So start to lift yourself up. Bring the hands to the shins, or we'll call them the knees today. Wrap the fingertips around that space, and then draw the shoulder blades together, lift the heart up. Feel the chest begin to lift. Hands wrap around the tops of the knees, round the spine, drop the chin in. Press, lift, and extend up, and then exhale and round the spine. Lift it on up one more time. Feel the heart begin to expand, or the space where the heart is, begin to expand as the shoulder blades draw together. And then round the spine, bring the chin down toward the chest, rounding the spine. Open up through the back. Lift it on up. Now, depending on where your knees are at or where your body space is, you might be able to pull the heels in and just roll forward into tabletop. Or, if your knees don't like that or you don't have the space to roll over it, you bring the legs around, and no matter what it takes to get there, let's come up and into tabletop. Now, from tabletop, let's bring the hands beneath the shoulders. Okay? The first thing we'll do though is first line the hips up over the knees, push the hands down and into the mat, and then kind of spread your fingers wide, pushing thumb and the index finger into the mat, and then push down and away from the floor. So you're not letting the shoulder blades drop into each other and dropping the neck down. What you're really trying to do is just press down, pull the shoulder blades away from each other, and feel a soft lift through the low ribs. Take a deep breath, toenails press down, exhale, cat. And continuing to find that space. Inhale, belly comes down toward the floor to bring your gaze up. And then exhale and round the spine. Again, we'll just be here 30 minutes, so we'll move through these postures rather quickly. You can always add a few more breaths in or take out a few if you'd like. Now tuck your toes under, bring the hips back toward the heels. Take a moment to open up the soles of the feet. If you've had any things with your feet, sometimes this helps open up the soles of the feet as you push your hips back. Shift the weight forward. Then walk both feet back, finding plank. Now, when you move up and into down dog, keep your hands and feet where they're at initially. You'll push the hips up, really use the hips for leverage here as you drop the heels down toward the floor. You may need to take a little half step up, and maybe you're just here, right? And that's cool. And if you'd like, you maybe even have to come down onto your forearms. You just don't have the strength in your shoulders yet. Builds with time. So you can either come here or up into that traditional down dog, and then pedal the feet left and right. Shifting, opening through the Achilles, finding space in the calf. Then come into that neutral. Push back through the heels of the hands, draw the shoulders away from the ears. Bring your gaze between your hands, and find a little buoyancy in the knees. And as you do so, begin to walk your feet up to the top of the mat. Onto the fingertips. And fold it forward. up, lift and extend toward the sky, and then bring thumbs down to heart center. So in the easy flow classes that we do at our studio, we don't do any chaturangas in the class, in this particular style of class. Doesn't mean it's always super easy, but we do take a chance to just find some movement in the body. So, and finding that half sun salute helps you connect back with movement and breath. Thumbs come out to the sides. Inhale, bring the hands up and overhead. Maybe palms come together if you can keep the shoulders away from the ears, or maybe as wide as the body. Push the hips back, fold it forward. Onto the fingertips. Exhale, forward fold. Round the spine, roll it on up, extend toward the sky. And then bring it down through heart center. We'll move through 2 more sets of those. I'll go to the side so you can see the movement through the hips here. Inhale, lift and extend up. Push the hips back, fold it forward. The inhale half lift is either pushing into the fingertips or maybe bringing hands to the shins, lifting and lengthening through the spine, creating space from the crown of the head to the tailbone, and then lengthening, exhale, and forward fold. Maybe even softening the knees a bit. Round the spine, roll it on up again, lift and expand. Thumbs down through heart center. Inhale, lift. Push the hips back and forward fold. Lift halfway. And fold. Roll it on up, extend toward sky. And then bring thumbs down to heart center. Now, come to the top of your mat, whichever end that happens to be. You'll see me move from side to side while we're here. But we'll take this left foot or the left foot back, and let's rotate both toes to face the long side of the mat. From here, bring the arms up, and about the space right where your wristwatch would be is where the ankles could be. If you don't feel stable in that space, you can always bring them just a little bit closer, but this helps you find the next posture just a little bit easier. Now, from here, let's take your right toe toward the front of the mat. And now you've already set yourself up to be in Warrior Two. Hips are open, soften the right knee. Feel the outer edge of this back foot connect, and then soften and bend the right knee over the ankle. So you don't want to be here. You're going to end up with, over time, probably not some happy knees. Bringing the knee over the ankle, find stability here, and if you push down into the floor, you'll feel the floor start to support you and find a little lift. Extend hands front to back. Warrior Two, or Virabhadrasana B, so Warrior Two, here we are. Exhale. Where can you soften? And then we'll flip this right palm, this front hand, and bring it up and overhead for your reverse. Moving into side angle, depending on where your spine is. Maybe it's hand to the knee and left hand to the sky, lift and expand. To find a little more space. Maybe you can bring right hand down to the floor. And maybe you can start to slide that right hand down the inside of the right leg. Gaze to the mat, bring it on up, reverse it. Bring your right hand forward, and then come onto the tiptoe of this back foot, lift it up, rotate it around, and then top of the mat, Samasthitihi or Tadasana. I'm going to run to the other side of the mat so that you can see better here. But from here, you'll still be facing that way, but take your right foot out to the side, rotate open again, just to find that distance for your feet to come apart. Left toe to the side. Bend into the left knee. And try not to let this right hip swish around. Right? Outer edge, extend front to back. Virabhadrasana B or Warrior Two. You're just simply making shapes with your body. But once you start to make that connection with breath, you'll find that the postures become slightly easier. Inhale, lift, reverse it on up. Left hand down, top of the left leg, maybe right hand to the sky. Maybe you slide it down and find some resistance here to lift the right side of the ribs up. Maybe you can bring it down to the floor. And maybe you can even sweep this right hand in front of you, reach through the fingertips, and then rotate the ribs up. Gaze to the mat. Bring it up for your reverse. Left hand forward. Bring this right heel off the mat. Hands to the center of the chest, top of the mat. Inhale, lift. Push the hips back, forward fold. Lift halfway. And fold. And round the spine, roll it on up, lift it, extend toward the sky. Thumbs down to heart center. Now, from the top of your mat, we'll just take that right foot out to the side. And your toes will point toward the long side of the mat. What you'll do is you'll bring those toes in toward each other and find a little bend in the knees. Now, from here, push the hips back. Bring the hands to the floor. And if you can't quite touch the floor, maybe you bring your hands to a block, but you lift and lengthen up. Start to lift the hips up if the hamstrings allow for that. And then find a soft forward fold. Finding room in the neck if the neck allows for that. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Tuck the elbows in a bit. Maybe you can walk the heels of the hands up so they line up with the heels of the feet. Toes and fingertips point the same direction here. Or maybe you're right here. Okay? Either way, wherever you're at, you'll come up and onto your fingertips or onto the block. Bring your hands to your hips on the inhale. Exhale. And then inhale, rise on up. Might want to look that up somewhere else what the actual breath might be. I think we can figure it out later. Then bring your right toe to the top of the mat, left foot up to meet it, lift, extend up and overhead, and then push the hips back, forward fold. Lift halfway, forward fold. Round the spine, roll it on up. Extend toward the sky, and then bring thumbs down to heart center. Bringing your hands to your hips, we'll start to move into tree. It's called Vikrasana. And for tree, the trick is trying to find strength in your standing leg and not letting everything slip out to the side. You'll bring that left foot forward and then bring your right knee toward the front of your mat. Pull this left hip in. Try not to hang out here or like this, but really strongly lift up through the kneecap and pull this left hip in. And then where it's available, maybe you can rotate this right knee out to the side. Hang out here. Options are you hang out here. This is your full tree. Maybe you've got to find a little bit of a kickstand. And maybe you even want to just hold on to the wall while you're here, just to find steadiness. And if you need to just face the wall and just hold onto the wall, that's perfect too. Balance is a funny thing, and you'll find that it's different each and every time you come to your mat. So, options, pull it in, ankle, calf, fits kind of nicely there. And then here's the inner thigh. But above or below the knee at all times, as you bring palms together, take a deep breath. Exhale. Then rotate that right knee to the center, bring the right foot down. Lift that left foot. Feel that glute fire up just a little bit. Pull the left knee and lift the left knee. Here we go. Right knee lifts, left knee comes forward. There we go, we're back on track. Pull that right hip in. I'll get there eventually. And then either ankle, calf, inner thigh. And again, above or below the knee, because if you push through the knee here, see what happens? Not good. Okay, so wherever you end up, palms together. Maybe you want to lift and extend towards sky. Maybe you want to hang out here. Find one focal point. And hopefully it's not, if you're doing it with someone else, it's not at them, because if they start to wobble, guess where you're going? Right along with them. Rotate the left knee toward the front of the room, bring the left foot down, lift, extend up, push the hips back, forward fold. Inhale, expand, and fold. Round the spine, roll it on up, extend towards sky. And then bring thumbs down to the center of the chest. Start to move toward the floor. 30 minutes goes pretty quickly when you're starting to find a little bit of movement. So thumbs out to the sides. Inhale, lift. Exhale, push the hips back, forward fold. Lift halfway. Then bring your hands down to the mat. And we'll begin to walk the feet toward the back of the room. Come into plank, come down to your knees, and then lower elbows right in by those ribs all the way to the floor. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Tuck the elbows in. And as you push the toenails down, feel a little lift through the knees, and then start to push your fingertips into the floor. And imagine you could just kind of pull yourself through it, just like lift up. That was my sound for a cobra. Okay, options are you hang out here. Be mindful of your spine, lift the belly up so the back stays protected. A little squeeze through the booty. Tuck the toes. Push up and onto the knees, and then lift hips into your down dog. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, bring your gaze between your hands and begin to walk your feet between your hands. And you'll extend the legs forward. So it might take 1 step, it might take 200 steps, whatever it takes for you, just trust the process. Each and every time you come to the mat, it could be easier, and some days life is just hard, okay? And we can do hard things, so push through the heels. Lift and rotate. Lift and rotate. Hands expand overhead. And then push the hips back, coming into that forward fold. It's called Paschimottanasana. Round the spine, bring yourself up. I'll show you that sideways. So initially in that Paschimottanasana, you want to find a lift through the chest. Bring the hands either shins, ankles, feet, toes, fold. Round the spine, bring yourself up. Find a little ease. And then start to draw the soles of the feet together. Baddha Konasana. Now, again, if you've had knee replacements or anything with knee pressure or your joints, meniscus, any of those places, you might want to bring a block, or if you're at home, maybe a pillow or something underneath the thighs here to just feel supported, and so that your knees don't have to be like, am I fire? Right? So you just hang out here. Options are lift through the chest, and maybe you can fold it forward. Probably the most inflexible yoga teacher that you'll ever meet. But my brain is flexible. And I guess sometimes that's what matters the most, right? Round the spine, bring yourself up and in. Bring the knees together, hands to the shins, lift the heart up. And then round the spine, bring chin to chest. Extend your left foot forward, and then we'll draw the right heel in just a little bit. Now, optimum distance is about 1.5 fists between this foot and the inner thigh. For some of you though, just bending this knee this far, the mobility is not there. And so what you can do is you can just find your max wherever you're at, push through the heel, and maybe this is your forward fold. Right arm inside the right leg. Lift it on up. And again, if you're here, let's extend, forward fold. Roll it on up. Pull the left heel in, extend the right. Find a little ease, find the edge of your posture. And again, 1.5 fists, maybe you can bend this so that knee's over the ankle. And maybe you're here, and for some people, even just this much doesn't work, so they rotate out to the side. Technically, different posture. Be where you're at. It's just yoga. Left hand up and forward fold. It's called Marichyasana. Drawing that right hip back just a bit, trying to just keep the hips square. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, soften into it. Inhale, roll it on up. And then bending that right knee, bringing the left foot to line up with it. Bring hands to shins and lift the heart up. Exhale and round the spine. Lift and extend again. And round the spine. Expand up. Try not to yawn. Held it in pretty good. And then this time we'll lean back just a little. So when we come up into, it's called Navasana or boat. Here's where you don't want to be. It's not shoulders forward, it's not rounding the spine, it's not hands up by the, or these things, shoulders by the ears, and lifting and hoping for the best here and contracting the neck. All of that, none of that was good. Let's try it again. So, push into the shins, bring the shoulders over the hips, and then imagine you could draw the belly back and toward the spine, okay? Lift up through the ribs. For some of you, bringing the hands behind you and just feeling a lift, and then leaning back a little bit. This is your full posture. This is where your belly starts to engage. And you might be, this might be your max, right? This might be your shaky point. For others, you can lift, bring it back just a smidge, toes come up, and rise. It's called Navasana. Bring the feet down and lift. Lift, push, lift the chest up, lean back, and again, just drawing the legs back and coming into the tiptoes. For some, this is more than enough. Sometimes if you actually try it, it's actually sometimes even harder than the other way because it's not muscles you usually engage. So lift, extend. Wherever you're at, maybe even throw the seatbelt on here. Bring the heels down, hands to the shins, lift the heart up, round the spine, let the low back release. Lift it on up. And then start to roll down and onto your back. You're gonna move this. Bring your knees into your chest, and then extend the hands behind you. Nice long stretch. And pull the knees around the shins. Pull the knees in toward the thighs in toward the chest, and then bring the forehead up toward the knees, round the spine. Find a soft rock, side to side. Let the head come back down, keeping some space under the neck, but allowing the back of the head to rest here. Bring the feet to the floor. Lift the low back up, kind of lengthen through the sacrum. And then we'll pull those knees in just a smidge. Actually, you know what? Let's keep the feet flat to the floor. Bring the arms up into what we call cactus arm, which is arms bent. And probably if you're at home, you might have a little more room. You can bring the hands out to the side with palms down, all the way out to the side. Okay, now from here, just let your knees drift on over to the left side. For some of you, your knees will drop down to the floor. You have a lot of space. And you might be able to intertwine the legs or draw the knees in. And for others, you might need to straighten the knees a little bit. Bring a block or a pillow beneath that left thigh, and this could be your full twist. Now, whichever direction your knees are, gaze is the other. So you're getting that twist through the spine. Be mindful of your spine here. If you've had any disc issues, any of those things, just always be mindful. Don't go past your edge where your brain can tells you that you should be. The magical should word, right? Should remind you with something else, but it starts with S too. H. Okay. Now, from here, let the knees drift over to the right side. Gaze comes over the left shoulder. What you may notice is that there is a distinct difference from side to side. Now, as that body twists, exhale. And where can you find softness? Bring the knees up and into center. Push feet into the floor. Find a space for that spine to find neutral. That sacrum, that nice wide flat part of the low back comes into the mat, and draw knees in toward chest. Gently rock side to side. From here, lift the feet up. If you can, you'll reach for the big toes, and some of you might not be able to do that. Maybe you can just grab the back of the ankles, or you can find the back of your thighs and pull the knees down toward the shoulders, reach up, and then swish side to side for happy baby. Notice any difference as you rock from side to side. Bring it into the middle, knees together. Take an inhale. And as you bring your forehead in toward your knees, squeeze, face, fingers, toes. Gently bring the head back to the mat. Bring the hands out to the sides. And then begin to extend the feet forward, maybe as wide as the mat. Make any adjustments that you need to. If your low back is sensitive, you can always just keep the knees bent and drop the knees in toward each other. Soften the eyes. And coming into that Shavasana. You may want to stop your video for a few moments. And then as you're ready, you'll begin to start to find your breath again. Take a deep inhale. And exhale. Please try not to skip Shavasana. It's actually the most important part of your practice. It's that place where you can just actually find a little bit of rest. From here, pull the legs in, push through the heels, extend the hands behind you for a long stretch. Pull the knees in. And then let yourself drift over. Let's go to the left side today. It's usually ladies left, or for people that are in pregnancy, smashed up against the little wall, although against the wall. If you'd rather roll over to the right side, feel free to always do that. And this child's pose, then begin to press yourself up and into seated. We'll come back into that easy seat pose. It can be legs crossed, legs extended, wherever you happen to be this evening, morning, day. I don't know what time it is where you're at. Well, find that easy seat. Lift up through the heart. Maybe it's a little easier than when you first came here. Take a deep inhale. Open your mouth and exhale. Bring the hands overhead. And as you bring your palms together, gently bring the thumbs into heart center. So the greeting namaste simply means the light within me salutes the light that shines from each of you. But as a reminder, please take that light and shine it into the dark corners of the world. And please take that light that shines from within you and shine it into the dark corners of your own heart. But more importantly, take that light and shine so others may find you in their time of darkness, in their time of need, and that you also know when you have those dark spaces in your own life that there's light for you, there's love for you, there's someone that can be there for you in those times of darkness. So take comfort in that and enjoy the rest of your day. And remember to try and be the light that shines for others. And with that, wishing you deep peace, Om Shanti, and Namaste.